up. Who's got a microphone? Okay, we'll open it up with Dan Hope, 11 Warriors, and then we'll go with Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
For Devin, obviously, you weren't able to play today. Just what happened to your finger, and when do you feel like you're going to be able to get back out throwing again?
Yeah, it was just a slight little thing in practice. Just had a little procedure on it. Nothing crazy. Be back in 4 weeks or so.
What was it like just watching today? Was that hard for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard knowing I could have been playing out there, but I mean, we were working for it all spring. But at the end of the day, I was just happy to be able to cheer on my guys and do what I could.
Okay, over here to the right, Dylan Davis.
Kyle, where would you evaluate your command of the offense year 3, third spring now? Where would you evaluate your command of the offense right now?
I think every year you take a step in the right direction. Whether that's spring and then it's fall camp season, I think you learn a lot along the way. And I think you get out of it what you put into it. I think the more film you watch, the more reps you get. I think it helps you take those steps. So I mean, year 3, I feel pretty good. Feel like I came a long way than where I was when I first got here. So I feel like I'm in a good spot right now.
Over here to the left, Andy Anders, Buckeye Sports Bulletin.
Yes, for Kyle. There was a throw early on to Marvin you kind of layered it over the safeties nicely.
Yeah.
It seems like you've always had a strong arm, but how have you developed that ability to layer throws over time?
Yeah, it's something that we work in practice every single day. We call it a 1-inch throw. So we'll put like a baseball net out there, and I mean, that's the safety, linebacker, whoever is dropping back in coverage, and you got to get it over the linebacker or whoever it is, and then drop it into the receiver's hands. So it's something we work literally every single day, and it shows up a lot in the game. So it's definitely something that we make an emphasis on.
Over here to the right, Austin Ward, Rivals, the podcast.
Kyle, Coach Day was really kind of raving about the throw to Carnell for the touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because you wanted to see a passing touchdown or you did something special there.
Yeah.
Take us through that play.
Yeah, so that was the first play of the fourth quarter, so we had some time to talk about what look we were trying to get there and what we wanted. And so, I mean, Carnell ran a really good route. The line did a good job of protection. I made a good throw too. So I think, when all those things come together, that's the result. It's a touchdown, but I think that's a tribute to the 10 other guys and everybody doing their job. And, when that happens, good things happen.
Over here, Tim May on 3.
Yeah, for each of you guys. Does it matter that no one has declared a winner in this race yet? I mean, how does this take you into the next offseason, headed to the opening of preseason camp?
Yeah, the competition's been great. I mean, we both know what it is, but I think at the end of the day, Devin's definitely making me better, and I think vice versa as well. So, even though there's not a winner of the job yet, I think, that benefits both of us, honestly. And I think it's going to push both of us going into fall camp, and, there's still a lot of time until the season. So I think, just keeping, each other hungry. I think he'd say the same thing. So I think that's definitely the wise thing to do at this point, just keeping each other in check, keeping each other going.
Right next door, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much Kyle hit it right on the head. We're trying to get each other better every single day, and that's all we can ask for is pushing each other. And I'd say Kyle would feel the same. When you're with the best competition, you feel like you got to play your best, so you got to bring it every day. But at the end of the day, we just want what's best for the team, and whoever's going to win the job is that guy.
And how much of a bummer was it for you to have to watch this last week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it sucked, but at the end of the day, I felt like I had a good few practices in spring. I think I had 10 practices before the Saturday, or I think it was 11, something like that. But I felt like I had enough days to just really still feel good about my spring, and not really have to worry about the rest of it.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Kyle, what did you get out of the spring? Or did you get as much out of the spring as you hoped? Was there something you wish you had proven that maybe you didn't? How do you kind of feel coming out of spring?
Yeah, I thought the spring went well. I mean, obviously spring is a time where, we're putting in new stuff, seeing if it works, seeing what's good for us and what's not good for us. So it's definitely, I'd say a little bit of a learning period. But at the same time, you want to build that chemistry with the guys. And I think going with the 1s and the 2s in the spring is good. That way, I'm building chemistry with 6, 7, 8 receivers, 4 tight ends, all that. You're getting good reps with the whole offense. So I definitely feel like the spring went well.
Over here to the right, Doug Laborice, Cleveland.com.
For both of you guys, Kyle first.
Yeah.
It's a very different situation, but 5 years ago we were in this room and Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow had finished a quarterback competition. And one of those players decided to leave, to go do something else. Is there any part of this in the competition, Kyle, that has ever been in your head once you got through spring that would be a possibility?
No, I mean, when I committed here, I made a promise to myself that I was just going to come here and compete. And guys will come, guys will go, but at the end of the day, I think if you're confident in your work, confident in your game, you know, you're going to be, you know, at a good spot regardless of who they bring in. And so, you know, you're at a place like Ohio State, you know they're going to bring in the best quarterbacks, you know they're going to bring in really good competition, and, you know, you have to earn it every single day.
Devin, can you answer that as well?
Sorry, repeat the question for me.
Just the idea of, you get to the end of spring, would there be anything in your head, a possibility of thinking about a transfer if you're not thinking you'll be the starter?
Yeah, no, that's never crossed my mind. You know, I've always been a guy that's going to stick to my word and stick to where I'm at. And I've always said from the beginning, I came here and I wanted to compete. And, you know, if that's not how it goes, that's how it goes. But I'm sticking around. I'm still a Buckeye. I want to do everything I can to help this team.
We're going to go just a couple more questions. Bill Landis, Rivals, the podcast.
I think both of you guys can probably answer this. Whichever one of you is the starter in the fall is going to step into a really good situation with all the weapons you have, but not all of them have been available this spring. In fact, most of them haven't been available this spring. How has that been kind of working through that? When maybe you go through some struggles, in the back of your mind, do you tell yourself, like, I'm still learning from this, and when we get on the field in the fall, you know, who's around me will be very different.
Yeah, I mean, like Kyle said, the spring is just a time to learn and grow. You know, we're still trying to figure out what kind of team we have right now. I mean, there's a lot of new freshmen that are stepping in and have never played college football before, and they got to learn the offense just as much as we do at this time, just because everything's so new. We're just trying to keep adding things, see what works, see what doesn't, and every year it's a different team. It's never the same team every year, no matter who comes in. But I mean, injuries is the name of the game. I mean, it always happens, but either way, we get to work with guys that are still growing and figure out what works.
Over here to the right, Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Road.
Kyle, you had 2 years with Coach Wilson and now one with Coach Hartline in the spring. What's that been like for you to go through an offensive coordinator transition and just now that you're on the other side of it, how do you think that went with Coach Hartline for 50 practices?
Yeah, I think Coach Hart stepped into that role seamlessly. I think, you know, he sees the game from a really good perspective, and I think, you know, that's a testament to his time playing and now being a coach. You know, he sees all 11 guys. You know, sometimes with the receivers coach, you would think, you know, he only knows the passing. You know, he doesn't know the run game, doesn't know the protections, but he understands all that fully. And I think, you know, he stepped up to the role and you know, hit it out of the park. You know, we put in some new stuff that worked really well that we'll use going into the fall. But I mean, in terms of just from like a quarterback perspective, I mean, it's been kind of consistent with Coach Dennis and Coach Day. So having that consistency, you know, has kind of helped me through that transition. You know, honestly, it wasn't, you know, crazy transition or anything like that.
And final question, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
For both of you guys, and this is sort of a follow-up on what Bill just asked you, but with you know the top receivers not being around necessarily all this spring, with the defensive line having kind of an edge up front, I mean, do you guys look at that as an opportunity more than anything, that whoever wins this job, or eventually you're going to have to win with whoever in order to fulfill what Coach Day wants in an Ohio State quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, the starting receivers today, Marvin Harrison, Carnell Tate, Jake Ballard, I mean, those are 3 really good guys, and you know, that's without Emeka and Julian and Xavier. So, you know, I think even, you know, the 2s today are still really deep. So I don't think, you know, the personnel really, you know, affects, you know, too much of what we do. You know, all the receivers have done a good job of getting open, getting a good job of making plays, catching the ball. And so at the end of the day, being the quarterback, you just have to, you know, do your job, get the ball to the right guys, make the right protection calls, all that. You know, because at Ohio State, regardless of losing the game, they're going to be a really good player. So if you're going to be the quarterback here, it's just a matter of getting, you know, the team in the right situation, getting the ball out on time, all those things. So I think it's all in the details.
Devin, too? Sure. No.
Good. Yeah, I mean, Kyle pretty much hit it. At the end of the day, we're Ohio State. We're always going to have the best players no matter what. And, you know, if they're 2s, 3s, even 4s, they're still going to be some of the best players in the country. And at practice, we try to make practice as hard as possible so that Saturdays are easier. So, you know, when we have guys like JT and Jack Sawyer and Mike Hall, all these guys on the D-line, you know, really pressing us, it forces us to get our feet going, get the ball out faster, and make the game situations a lot easier.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Media, thank you very much.
Thank you.